Welcome to Skeletons Out.
On this episode, we're talking about the magic of the moon and how you could use that in everyday life. So if you want to create a magical lifestyle, you could use the moon doing lots of things, right, Kate? There's so many things we could use it for. And a lot of people don't know even the basics about the meaning behind the moon and how we could use it for spells and for manifesting. So we're going to go over a few things and give some tips. So
Yeah, you can use the moon from everything from household chores to full-blown sex magic or any
yeah.
other kind of divination. So
Yes, and in divination, astrology,
a spectrum there.
everything. I mean, it controls us too. The moon is what controls our emotions and keeps things flowing. So it's really important to at least acknowledge the moon because it, in a spiritual way, it really does give us power, that feminine energy. So it's really great for that. Um, well, one of the things just to get started is a lot of people don't even know the difference between using the new moon versus the full moon when it comes to magic.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But
Well, to begin, the new moon is when the sun and the moon are together. So you just think about like the new moon is when it's communicating with the sun. So we're all communicating, we're all getting together, and it's a way to manifest, to let the sun know what we're trying to manifest, what we want to bring to light in our lives. So that's a good way to remember the new moon. It's the dark moon, it's the black moon. So when you look on a calendar, you'll see the black moon on the calendar. That is the new moon. So that's when you want to manifest. That's when the sun is listening, the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, your God, it's listening, so everything's connected. So when it's a new moon, so the lunar cycle starts during the new moon. So the lunar cycle goes from the new moon to the new moon, and that's 29 days. It's actually 29 days, 12 hours, and 44 minutes and 3 seconds, if you want to know the exact. The moon, that's why we have that new moon every month. And it goes, once it's new and it's that black moon, it'll turn into a crescent moon and then the full moon. And that's waxing. And the way I think of that is adding wax to the ball, making it bright and shiny. That's how I think of
I
waxing
didn't see that coming. I'm not
goes
gonna
to the
lie.
full moon.
It is
I
adding
have
a
all
wax,
different ways of remembering this stuff.
but adding wax to the ball is it's growing in the sky, is what they say, right? Okay, so all right.
And then it's just like this full it's wax, it's full, it's this full moon. And then as it goes back to the new moon, it's waning. And the word waning kind of explains it's waning down back to
Mhm.
black. So
And we're letting go with waning, right? We
yeah,
let
and you're
go.
letting go with the full moon, and that brings us to the meaning behind the full moon and how to do magic with that, which is letting go. Everything's full, it's reached its highest point, its lightest point, it's reached its apex where it could just no longer get fuller and brighter. So you're letting go after that, right? So after that full moon, you let go and you clear out space, you let go of things that don't serve you. So for those spell work you're going to do, you're going to be letting go. I no longer want this in my life. I'm cleaning out this. It's good for cleaning spells.
Mhm.
And so during that full moon, which is basically all about letting go, think of a wolf. Okay. A wolf howls at the full moon. The wolf howls at the moon. It's on the tarot card. Actually, a wolf is on the moon tarot card because it's showing that release. So think of the full moon as the release, the letting go. And you have that picture in your mind.
I was just thinking that I have spent a good portion of my life yelling at the moon, bargaining with the moon, pleading with the moon, thanking the moon, requesting from the moon. If I was going to have like a god like or a higher power, if you will, the moon has definitely been a prominent one in my life since a child to now. I'm also a Cancer. So
There you go.
you've got some of that, but I mean, I'm a Sagittarius and I think a Virgo in there, or no, not a Virgo. And Aries, I think might be my top three. I got to remember, but I know it's Cancer and Sagittarius, but it's not like a triple Cancer, or so the moon. I don't know. It always resonates with me, and I always feel the howling at the moon, the yelling at the moon, the releasing the moon at the full moon, you
Yeah.
know.
And you touched on something that I wanted to get into too, is you're a Cancer, so you're ruled by the moon. So the meaning for when you're being ruled by the moon, the meaning behind that is that you're imaginative, you're intuitive, you're able to let go like you do, but you're also moody because, the moon changes so much that, in the water,
I'm not exactly
you
sure that's
know.
correct.
Cancers are moody. I know
True.
because my sister is a Cancer. I have friends that are Cancer, and I talk to Kate every day, and it's like,
Yes, yes, yes.
the texts are good, then bad, then good, then bad, but they're always positive because Cancers are positive. They have a safety shell when they want to go in it. And the moon is the same way. It has a safety shell. It goes dark, it goes light, it goes dark. It does what it needs to do to catch up with itself, to keep itself flowing. So,
Mhm.
Cancer ruled by the moon. Also, another meaning that I love about the moon is what comes with tarot cards. And with tarot, it's like things that are hidden, the unknown. So when you're doing a reading, you're seeing that there's things that aren't seen that we don't know yet. So it's like a mystery card. It's like there's this mystery behind it, but it means imagination and intuition as well as it does planetary, astrologically. But that's all about how we see things, our perception, and how we react. The moon is all about how we react. So when you want to look at your moon sign, that's another thing. You know your sun sign, but you should know your moon sign. That's how you react to things. So people do. I have met people just randomly who know all three, their moon, rising, and sun sign, and I always find that really interesting. Um, of course, and then there's the people who know their whole birth chart, which is awesome.
Mhm.
Just to have it memorized. But it's good because then wherever the sun is, that's highlighting in your chart where you need help. Or wherever the moon is, you're going to be reacting a certain way. So it's really interesting to learn astrology. But we're talking about the moon. So what else do we have on the moon? The moon, we have some moon magic tips.
Moon magic tips. I was just gonna say, I my moon magic. I normally, like I said, do it on a full moon. The last full moon of 2023 is the moon water I have currently, and I use it to clean like space, like a sacred space, or I throw it in with my mopping. And I use it to wipe down my doorway on the first of the month. I feel like it's, for me, it's more of like a cleansing, like Florida water. I don't mess with Florida water, but I do moon water as a cleansing tool. But like I was asking you previously, what does moon water, like what's the significance? Is it manifesting? Is it abundance? Is it protection? Like what is it?
So for those of you that don't know, moon water is basically water charged by the moon. And you could do it during a new moon or a full moon. And that's going to kind of help you how based on the moon phase, it'll help you with different things. So Kate uses the full moon and then she cleans with it. That's perfect because the full moon is all about clearing out, cleansing, and bringing out that the ability for the newness. And, so cleaning, especially like cleaning out your car, even cleaning out your house, cleaning out your closet, like really clearing out, use that moon water
Mhm.
in your spray, like she said in the mopping. Like you really want to just have that moon water out there. And it's just like crystals. Water holds energy. So it held the moon, it held that energy of the moon. So now that's all over your house. So no matter
Mhm.
what, that's so magical. But also for the moon, you could, or for moon water, you could use it during the new moon. You can put it out during the new moon, and then you could use that, say, in a bathtub. And then what you want to do is just put a few drops in your bathtub and think about the things you want to manifest. I know it sounds crazy, but that's where I make lists and read is in the bathtub. So like that's a great time if you have moon water in there and you make a list of the things you want to manifest. I mean, that's so um just like really powerful, especially if you're in the tub during a new moon. So you make the moon water during the new moon, and then the next new moon, use it in your tub, that's really powerful. So as you can see, you're just kind of using the moon as this powerful symbolism for your magic, you know, and the goddess of the moon, Selene, she's there. You could conjure up her, you know, you could just ask her, hey, Selene, I really need this to happen. You know, that's something like you said, you scream at the moon. I definitely pray to the moon and beg the moon. I've definitely yelled at the moon, but it's definitely like the feminine
All
energy.
phases, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
so in this book, so all right, so in my witchery book, the one that I started the craft with, that one has first quarter moon, waxing gibbous moon, like full moon, waning gibbous moon. So it has like a bunch of them. So you can even third quarter moon and a waning crescent moon. And then it also has the gems or crystals to work with.
Oh yeah, there's also a lot of crystals you could work with the
Yeah.
moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't even touch on that with the notes. But yeah,
Yeah.
like there's different crystals, like clear quartz is a good one. Moonstone obviously is really good. And you just
Pyrite.
basically you could put them. What I did is I made little vials for my moon water and I got tiny gemstones to put in them, and it's just a kit that I bought, and it came with all the little jars and everything. So there's ways to moon water is actually popular now. So, you
I
know,
think people are wearing them in pendants with crystals.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I
I
think
like
that,
that
or at
idea.
least I saw a creator making that recently.
That's so
But
cool.
yeah, the first
And what
quarter
you were
moon
saying, okay, so like the first quarter moon, the
is
waxing,
for, yeah,
all that
luck,
kind of
wealth,
stuff.
success. Yeah,
It's kind of
with,
like astrology. Like
yeah,
you can go so much deeper than just the new moon and the full moon. And, you know, it could just make your spell work so much more powerful if you're really getting into the moon. So, you know, I don't really get into that kind of stuff. I pay attention when it's certain at a certain degrees or when it's at a certain in a certain zodiac sign. I'm definitely always aware, where's the moon tonight? You know, okay, it's leaving Aquarius. So, you know, right now that has significance for me. So I'm like, oh, okay, so this is going to happen tomorrow in the next 3 days. And that's another thing. The moon is in a sign for about 3 days. So that's
yeah.
kind of how horoscopes are made a lot of times, is by the moon. Especially back in the day when you would see them in the paper, it's just where the moon was. So the moon helps make horoscopes because the sun sign is going to be the same for 30 days, right? So how do you get these daily scopes? The moon. So
Ah,
it's
I didn't
just
know
a
that
little
until
fact
now.
there. A
Thank
lot
you.
of astrologers, not every horoscope or astrologers. I used to do it with tarot cards, but then it
Mhm.
wouldn't be officially a horoscope. It'd be a tarot scope. So, but horoscopes usually they go by the moon for the daily horoscopes. Yeah.
Interesting. Also, the moon rules women because you could, when you go natural, no hormones, no birth control, like a control situation, right? You
Mhm.
will sync up with the moon.
Yeah.
I'm within a couple of days of a full moon, and I have an IUD. So I don't know whether it's the vortex or the level or the frequency I'm on in my spiritual journey that I'm synced up with the moon, but I've been synced for a couple of years now where I'm like, oh man, there's got to be something going on because the body hurts and the attitude. And even if you're not a woman, or you don't have a uterus, rather, because I feel like the moon really affects the uterus, right? It still affects the 80% of your body that's water. And
Mhm.
it's like, or now that we know there's crystals in your mind, right? So maybe it affects those crystals too. And that's why on a full moon, people go a little batty or wild, if you will, which would be a better statement. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, that was just a random thought I had
You
for the
know,
moon.
that's funny you
Controlling.
said that people go batty. When you were talking, I started thinking about, oh yeah, also there's the craziness of the full moon. And why does that
Yes.
happen? And you said, so
ERs, police stations, nursing homes, psych wards, anything, if you say, oh, it's a full moon tonight, like even a grocery store will get wild if you say that. You invoke the magic mania of the full moon, huh?
well, it's kind of like the moon has its period. It's letting go of it, shedding. Because as it as it wanes, the wax comes off, right? You know, kind of
Yes, the
the
shedding of it,
shedding.
the shedding
It all
clawing its
comes
way out of
together
there.
now. The moon is our uterus. It is the feminine energy, and the sun is the male energy. And when they get together during the new moon, then that's when we get to manifest. We tell them what we want and they make it happen as it gets full. And
Mhm.
that's when you're doing your little actions to make it happen and you're watching things, the synchronicity. And then once it gets full, you're crazy with adrenaline from all this manifesting, right? You're crazy with something, but it's
No,
definitely
I'm
like
yeah.
the water
No, it's
rising to the surface, you know, this like
mhm.
full moon projection. But yeah, I definitely I've heard that so many times and at restaurants things go crazy.
Yeah,
You
or
know,
it'll be dead and
what
weird
is it?
outside, a lot of traffic accidents, a lot of like you'll hear dogs howling at the moon or be restless, cats are restless.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you probably see a lot of raccoons or something, like a lot of movement at night. A lot of nocturnal animals are restless, I think then. But yeah,
Well,
it's
also it's brighter
crazy.
out at night, so I guess it would be it's almost like illuminating our our shadow side in a way, just kind of getting it all out, all that negativity that we've accumulated over the 2 weeks from the new moon to the full moon, and then you release, and then the next full to the new moon, you're just getting your motivation back up and you're I don't know, it's interesting how it does flow and it's like a cycle. And if you really look at the moon, you can kind of go with it, get your period lined up with it by a lot like naturally, yes, it happens, especially if you're not on any hormones, because your body is, like I was saying, it's that release during the full moon. It's perfect for a female to release at the same time, so
So
that
that's ovulation then, huh?
huh?
Is it ovulation or is it shedding the
Well, think
lining?
about how about that's great. Think about this. What is ovulation? It's trying to manifest a baby. Right? So
New
as
life,
it
life.
gets to it's like yes, it's like the new moon is creating life. Perfect.
Mm-hmm,
That lines right up with ovulation. So it's trying to create life, and then as it
mm-hmm.
gets to that full moon, it gets released, and then it just waits for the next one to be born, or to be created because that's when we manifest.
Because that energy has to go somewhere. It's a
Yeah.
little like ball of energy that just gets shed every month or whatever. It has to go somewhere, especially if you have like intentions. I wonder if your intentions, maybe that's why period magic is so powerful. We'll have
That
to
makes a
delve
lot
on
of
that
sense.
next episode.
Let us know what you guys think.
Yes,
It's so
please comment.
fascinating. How do you use the moon for your magic? And let us know how you do with it. So thank you
Thank
for
you for
joining us,
joining us.
and we'll see you soon. Rock your
Rock your
magic.
magic.